Okay, I am so excited today. We have such a special guest with us today. We have Maudie Wuellner. She's a multiple business owner and busy mom of three kids. She's obsessed with helping women create and live a life they love. And one way that she helps moms do this is understanding and dismantling mom guilt. And we know that that is so real. Madi is also the host of the most supportive and transformational coaching community online called The Crew. And we'll give you more information about that as we go. But I am so excited. Without further ado, let's bring Madi on. Thank you so much for being here, Madi. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in this role in helping moms and what is your mission?
Okay, I will get started. But first, Christina, first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Of
To
course.
everybody watching, we met last week. And
Yes, we
so
did.
in a Zoom, just like this right now, and it was like
Hmm.
an instant connection. Even though there was like 10 women in the room, I was like, oh, I see where she's going, what she's doing, her mission. And so I really appreciate you bringing me on to talk about it.
Of course. I'm so excited to have you here. Yeah, we clicked like immediately. I'm like,
I know.
yeah, I felt the
Uh-huh.
same way. We're on the
Yeah.
same page.
Another disclosure, it
Yes.
snowed here. I'm north of Seattle, and so
Ooh.
we're on a 2 hour late delay. So my 14-year-old is in the house, which means this
Yes.
might be disrupted.
Totally
Also,
cool.
we have painters coming, and my husband's a pilot. And so there are days like today where he wasn't going to fly, and he's like, I gotta go. Like, oh my God. So this is how we mom, right?
Yeah, yeah, this is totally just life. We just go with it. And if you hear my
Yes.
dogs barking in the background, it's life. So
It
we're
is
just
life.
gonna
And so
roll with
this
it.
is permission to like do it messy and then a request to, give me some grace
Yes.
if you see my eyes go like that. So,
Of
okay.
course. Yes.
Oh my gosh, how I got started. What a huge question what my mission is. I have many missions, and Christina, right now, my mission is to dismantle mom guilt, is to
Mhm.
break the conversation wide open. What I'm seeing is stigma and
Mhm.
shame and
Yes.
embarrassment around a universal phenomenon. So, we all, based on the research that I've done, 98.4%, I'm going to say we
Hmm.
all have experienced, currently do experience, and will experience mom guilt. So why are we not talking about it? This is the
Right.
mission, is just to break
Yes.
the conversation open, share stories with amazing women like you so that listeners and the audience and the amazing people that are in your community can slowly bring the shame down, start to
Yes.
understand their stories, understand how the guilt is affecting their lives, and then slowly make intentional changes towards creating a life that we love in whatever capacity that looks like.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, Madi, would you mind telling us a little bit about, in your experience, what are the most common sources of mom guilt that you
Ooh,
hear in your line
oh
of
my
work?
gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just tell you that
Hmm.
I really don't have mom guilt, which is really interesting. Like, why am I the one to be researching? And I think it makes me the perfect person because I don't have a filter. I don't have a belief. I could be really impartial to the stories and really just believe what women are telling me. And
Right.
I had kids young. So I have three kids. They're 22, 18, and 14. I'm
Hmm.
43. And so when I had my first 22 years ago, there were a couple of situations that led me to not really have mom guilt. And one was being the first one in our peer group to have
Hmm.
kids. So
Yes.
nobody around me had kids. Everybody was still living life on their terms, going to college, living the young life. And so there
Hmm.
was nobody was paving the path for me.
Right.
The second thing that I had going for me was there was no social media. So
Yes.
I
True.
didn't I didn't have the Pinterest perfect mom to aspire
Wow.
to. And
Mm.
so based on the research, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I did have it, but it just didn't really affect me because it wasn't in my face every
Yes.
day on the constant on the daily. I was
Right.
doing the best that I could and I knew that was fine."
That's amazing.
It was probably some youth naivety as well, right? Like, what do you want from me? I'm 21 years old. I'm doing the best I can. Get off my back.
Right, right. No, I
Yeah.
love that.
So, in what ways does mom guilt affect us? I think it starts with the comparison. I think that's
Yes.
where it really, really starts. And it affects us in different ways, comparison
Hmm.
with work, with our relationship, with our home and our how things look, how successful our kids are, if they're doing sports, if they're not doing sports. It's insidious. It's everywhere in our lives.
Right.
And I think how it starts is how one of the ways it starts is comparison.
Yes, yes. Who was I talking to the other day where they were calling it comparisonitis? We all have the
Oh,
comparisonitis. Not all of us, but a lot of moms do. Like.
yes, we do. We do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so you had mentioned, what types of extracurricular activities that they're in or not in. And in my community, especially for moms with kids with ADHD, there's a lot of guilt around they feel like they're not doing enough to support the ADHD. Now, I don't know, Madi, if you've had anyone in your community specifically with a child with ADHD or with, another condition, and has anyone ever talked about that and really voiced how they feel like they're not, being the best mom they can be for their child and their child's needs?
I've heard it from so many different perspectives. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if you're a young mom or an old mom or a working mom or a stay-at-home mom
Mm-hmm.
or a mom of someone with special needs or and I have to, one of my kids has been diagnosed later in
Mm-hmm.
life. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have that as well. Like, could I have
Mm-hmm.
done something different? And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, absolutely. It just becomes bigger
Yes.
and heavier when it feels like the stakes are higher.
Right.
Because the stakes aren't, should I go out on girls' night or stay in on girls' night? The stakes are like my child's health, future,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
well-being. That's a different conversation. So absolutely I'm hearing that. And if any of your listeners or the women in your group are like,
Mm-hmm.
that's me, please know you are not alone. You are
Yes.
unique. You are unique in your story, absolutely. And you are not alone.
Right. I love that. So, Madi, can you talk about any types of practical strategies or mindset shifts that you help
Mm,
moms with
yeah.
mom guilt overcome?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that we've all heard is any change starts with awareness. And truly, I'm going to roll my
Yes.
eyes because I'm like give me a to-do list. Don't give me fluffy memes on how to change. Like, I want practical steps.
Yes.
And so we've all heard it. Like, change starts with awareness. Well, how? Tell me how. So, this is a win-win, and this is a definitely helps me because I am, and
Yes.
I can tell you the story of why I'm doing the research because it didn't start that way. But I am researching as many, or I'm talking to as many moms as I possibly can about their mom guilt. And it starts with a survey. So I've created a mom guilt survey, which you referenced.
Yes.
And this is a twofold win. It helps me because it helps my statistics and it helps my understanding of mom
Hmm.
guilt. And then it also helps awareness
Yes.
because the questions are intended to have you reflect on your own past experiences. The questions are, when was the first, it starts, when was the first time you experienced mom guilt? And if you really think about it, Christina,
Hmm.
most of the women are reflecting and realizing that they experienced it in pregnancy,
Wow.
which is wild. And
Yes.
for example, I was 20 years old registering for a baby shower,
Hmm.
and I didn't know what I was doing, as we all don't. And I
Right.
registered for pacifiers, which lifesaver for me. But I registered for a pacifier, and my mom said, "Oh, I didn't need those when I was raising you guys." She didn't mean it. It
Right.
was not intended to shame or belittle or impose this mom guilt, but that's
Right.
where it started. before I
Wow.
even had my first. And so these questions in the survey are an invitation to anybody who takes it to reflect. When was the first experience? Can I see where I was? Can I see who imposed it? Can I see how it affected my actions? Did I change who I was gonna be because of this mom guilt? Awareness is built, survey's gone, you submit it, and then you go out into real life and you start spotting it. You start spotting it in your day to day, and it's with
Right.
that new level of awareness that you can make the slight change.
Right.
Maybe you do things a little bit different, and that is the tool. That is the number one tool that I recommend.
It all starts with awareness. And
Mhm.
I'm super excited about this survey. And for everyone listening, you are going to have get the link to this survey, and I highly suggest that you take it and just see where you are, you know? Check in
Yeah.
with yourself. Again, it all starts with being aware.
Yeah.
What a powerful story, about you being such a young mom. And let me just say, let me back up and just say, I think that's amazing, Madi, that there wasn't social media at that time because I just can't even imagine. I mean, so that's everybody talks about all the great things about social media and they bring everybody together, but for something like this, I think that's great because I hear from a lot of my clients about, oh, well, like you said, the Pinterest perfect mom, or seeing like the Instagram stories and the all over the place about how this mom's doing this and comparisonitis and all that. So, it's kind
Absolutely.
of
There's a
like a,
hundred.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's 100 ways to do it. And it's
Right,
overwhelming because you're seeing all these really wonderful, probably great ideas. And there's
right,
absolutely 0% chance of you having the capacity to implement them all. And
right,
so it becomes overwhelming. And I think when we have too many options, we do none. We just
right.
freeze, like we do zero.
Yes. So are you, Madi, seeing a difference in the moms you work with that are stay-at-home moms as
Mm,
opposed to working moms? And like,
yeah.
are you seeing like a theme and how the guilt is different in that
It's exact
regard?
it's different, air
Mm-hmm.
quotes, and it's
Yes.
exactly the same. I did a survey
Mm-hmm.
on my social media maybe a year ago. I should redo this because you're not the first person to ask this question. And I said the survey was who experiences more mom guilt, stay-at-home moms or working moms?
Mm-hmm.
And as we can imagine, stay-at-home moms voted for themselves and working moms voted for themselves.
Right.
Working moms feel guilt for not being there, and stay-at-home moms feel guilt for not providing, not going
Mm-hmm.
after whatever maybe they want to go after. And so it's quite different and it's so much the same.
I love that. Quite different, but so much the same.
Yeah. And the thing
Yeah.
about guilt that I always like to just point out is it's a really, really good and healthy emotion. Okay. So it's misplaced here.
Mm-hmm.
Guilt says I've done something wrong. So if that's true, we get to, as uh, wonderful parents that we are, and know all
Mm-hmm.
of your listeners are, they would not be in your group if they weren't. We get to with that feeling, change our ways. Like I lost
Mm-hmm.
my temper, I snapped at you, I whatever, right? And then we
Right.
gotta we gotta feel guilty. Okay, check in. Yeah, that doesn't align with my values. I feel out of integrity here. I'm gonna change. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Let's not dismiss that.
Yeah.
Where it gets misplaced is, and actually it should be called mom shame because shame says I'm bad. Not I did something bad. That's guilt. Shame is I'm bad.
I'm bad.
And that's where we get to take a look at ourselves and evaluate, is that true? Realize it's absolutely not. You are not bad for going to work. You are not bad for staying home. You are not bad for having a child with ADHD. It says
Right.
nothing about you.
No.
And let's not let that guilt hold us back from stepping into whatever version of ourselves we really want to step into.
Yes. I love that. And I love how you mentioned, like, you lost your temper, but we can always use one of the most powerful parenting tools and use a repair, right? A lot of parents come to me like, oh, I've completely messed up my child. What's wrong with me? I said this and I said that. It's like, well, let's process that, but let's not beat ourselves up because at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all going to say
Mm.
things we don't mean. We're all
Yep.
going to yell, but we can use that powerful tool of making a repair. And as simple as just saying, I'm sorry. It not
Oh,
only
that's
makes yourself
beautiful.
feel better, right? But you're also modeling for your kids that you're human and that they can be
Yes.
human, they can make mistakes, and when they do,
Yep.
just to apologize.
That's so great. That's so great because how often do we invite our kids to apologize? All the time.
Right?
And so if we model it, there's no shame in apologizing. There's no shame in making amends. There's no shame
Right.
in feel badly for what we did or what we said. What do we do with that?
Right.
Absolutely. That whole modeling the repair is a great example of how we get through the right kind of guilt.
Yes, yes. So going back to Madi, when you said the tool is awareness,
Mm,
that's obviously that is like the first step. Once they become aware that they're having this mom guilt,
yeah.
what do you say to a mom then? What
Mm.
type of shifts do you help them make once that they have at least gotten to the awareness stage?
Yeah. And let me just say, I am not a parenting coach. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
life coach, and I help
Yes.
women create and live a life on purpose. And
Yes.
so, what I've found is this is one of the major roadblocks to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I would say after you find awareness, is to check in with the identity. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge one. It's like we become moms, I believe, really quickly. I mean, yes, it happens like over a year, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've had years and years and years to imagine. But I don't know if we spend enough time deciding who we are going to be or who we aspire to be in that
Mm-hmm.
role. We take up an identity that's really culturally conditioned for us. We take up an identity of a martyr or sacrifice ourselves or everything that used to be important for me is now on the back burner. And that's just not great, right? And
Right,
all of a
right,
sudden our identity is Xavier's mom. Aiden's mom,
right,
and
right,
it's not, oh, I'm Maudie with all these passions and all these values and all these ideas. And
right.
I also have kids. It becomes, I'm a mom first, which is fine, but we have to
Yeah.
identify what we want that to look like. And so that's a
Yes.
big, big answer to a simple question, but getting clear. Who do you want to be in that role? What do you want to give up? What goes to the back burner with intention and what stays front and center?
Yes, I love that. And not to just throw this word around, I know it's like a buzzword, but we talk about self-care, right? I know that, lots of coaches talk about the importance of making sure that we're pouring into our own cup. Now, what do you say to moms that that heavy, heavy guilt that just feel like they don't have time for themselves
Mm,
and that they need the time they do have needs to just be poured all in 100% into their children. What do you
that's a
say to
great
that
question.
type of mom?
Yeah, that's a great question. And let's not beat around the bush. It's hard to practice
Hmm.
self-care. Okay.
Yes.
All these platitudes, all these memes, all these like make it seem so simple. And it's so
Right.
frustrating because, as you
Hmm.
just said, it is not.
No.
Taking an hour to ourselves is a sacrifice in other ways. And so,
Right.
as one feels discomfort when they start working out, like a new workout routine, my legs are on fire today. It feels very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
It's through the discomfort that we, in the reps, right? It's through the discomfort and the
Yes.
reps that we build the muscle to be able to continue. And it's the same with self-care. No, but this is
Yes.
not taught. This is not natural. What is taught is to sacrifice yourself till high heaven,
Yes.
and you're an afterthought. So let's not also beat ourselves up about acknowledging that self-care is not easy for all people. And if it is
Right.
hard for you, no shame in that. No shame in that. So
Right.
what I would do, a minute, one
Hmm.
minute. Hey, go to the bathroom by yourself.
Yes.
Like,
Seriously.
and count that as a win.
Yes.
Let's not discount the little ways. Have
Right.
4 extra sips of water a day. That's it.
Exactly. That's
That's
it.
it. And you're building the muscle. of
Mm-hmm.
self-care,
I love
of
that.
putting yourself first. And I also want to just like, I've been hitting this one. Let me know. This is new. This is a new theory that I'm
Yeah.
testing out. You tell me what you
Yes.
think of this.
Yes.
We got to pour into our own cup so that we can pour into others. We've got to put our own oxygen mask on before we can put
Mm-hmm.
others. This conditioning that the only reason you and I, moms, deserve self-care is so that we can take care of others, I feel is flawed.
Wow. That's an amazing point. That's
What if we
wow.
pour into your own cup solely for your enjoyment?
Yes.
Or what if I put on my own mask, oxygen mask on to save myself?
Yes.
And then that's it.
Wow.
We're
Right.
naturally going to help. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that's not going to be a natural
Right.
byproduct of this, but
Right.
the conditioning says, unless you're doing it for someone else, what's you doing it for? And my
Right.
invitation is do it for you.
I love that. I love how you brought that up, Maddie, how it's just not natural, because it really isn't. I mean, there was a time a few years ago when I was working in a school. I was a school counselor in a really high need school, and then my family, I had to come home and take care of my own family, and there were people sick, and I wasn't pouring into myself. I was literally a school counselor preaching self-care to the entire
Yeah.
school, but it didn't feel natural to me because to me, it was just like, putting everybody else's fire out. But why wasn't I worried about myself? And so I love, love, love that point you made. Why can't the self-care just be about us? That's so powerful. That's profound, actually.
Mhm.
Thank you for bringing, that's
Yeah, this
amazing.
is new. This is a new, I'm
Yeah.
testing this because it is shaky ground to invite a woman into selfishness. Slight.
Yes.
It is shaky ground. It is like kind of rebellious and radical. And so
Mm-hmm.
thank you for allowing me to share my new, like, I haven't formed it all the way.
I love
It's
that.
getting there.
You could write a book, I swear, on this topic. I swear. I can see how much it like lights you up and it's just amazing. I mean, I'm going to be literally thinking about that all day. Just that concept. So, you're amazing, Maudie.
Christina, thank you. Thank you
No.
so much. Oh, it
No.
does light me up. Like watching women, like do this, what you're doing, go after big goals and dreams. And when I say big,
Mm-hmm.
big is to the individual, right?
Right.
It just makes my heart sing. And when I get a DM that says, because of what you posted, I went to that concert and I left the
Oh,
kids at home, that makes my heart sing.
yes.
So you're right. It does light me up, and there is a book in here for sure.
Yes, I love that. That's so awesome. Um, so Madi, just a couple things I wanted to kind of wrap up with. One, we talked about self-care and everything, but what about when we talk about just having self-compassion? Like not actually, what does that kind of look like? Not just like, okay, we're gonna go to the gym, we're gonna drink our water, but what does it really like look like for you
Mhm.
when I'm assuming you talk to other moms about how to have compassion for themselves specifically.
Yeah, I think that is even harder
Mm-hmm.
than self-care. I do. For me personally, I do.
Yes.
And that maybe the simple tool is, what would you tell a friend?
Right. Oh, I love
That's
that.
it.
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
how would you show up for a friend right now? Would you
Mm-hmm.
be beating her up and putting her into more shame because of what she
Right.
did?
Mm-hmm.
We've all had that friend who have confided in us and something that they did that you're like, oh God, I wouldn't have done that personally. And
Mm-hmm.
you are able to somehow still offer her compassion. Let's practice just turning the mirror and putting that own compassion on ourselves.
I love that. And again, why is that so foreign? It's like we would totally offer care and love and compassion to our best friend, but why is it so hard to give it to ourselves?
Yeah.
So, another really like profound thing I'm going to think about today. This has been
Yay.
amazing, Madi. And is there anything, Madi, that you would say to parents that are listening right now?
Mhm.
Just any like little tidbit, golden nugget you would give to moms about
Yeah.
what's one thing they can do just today,
Mhm.
um, besides taking the survey?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that will be
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
one. Let's all take that survey, to see where we are with.
Uh, yeah, I would say tell someone about it. Not the survey, tell someone about your mom guilt.
Okay.
And maybe it's your journal. Maybe you DM me or you DM Christina and just say, "Hey, I listened to that episode and I what it brought out in me is where I'm
Mm-hmm.
realizing I'm feeling." Because as Brene Brown would say, like shame can't thrive in the light. It loves
Right.
the dark. It loves to
Mm-hmm.
like be hidden inside of us where we're like, "Oh, that's like kind of a that's an embarrassing thing of me. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
anybody to see it." So obviously tell someone who is deserving of your
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability, right?
Right.
That that's one way to like peel back the layer. It's like, hey, I was feeling some mom guilt around. Just need to let you know. I'm gonna do it anyway, or whatever.
Right. No, that's something so simple. Just tell someone.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Oh, and one other thing I just came that came up real quick. And it's just the concept around being perfect. Now, does that come up in your work, I'm assuming, with
Yeah,
a lot of the moms?
absolutely. It's the
Mm-hmm.
compare and despair.
Right. Okay. It's the compare. Yeah.
And you know, another way, this comes up in so many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is being perfect from kindergarten to being in the PTA to volunteering to what your kids
Right.
are wearing to the sports. And then it also like this we take on when our kids mess up, okay? When
Mm-hmm.
our kids aren't perfect, all of a sudden we take ownership for that. So this is also
Right.
something that I'm seeing. And what I've been encouraging moms to do is like just like you wouldn't take ownership in their successes, right? They go
Mm-hmm.
out there and they win the spelling bee. You're not all like, thanks to me.
Right. I'd like to thank
You're
me.
welcome, Johnny. You would
Right.
never have gotten there without me.
Right. Right.
Let's not take ownership of their
Mm,
failures.
I love that.
So, that's just another like, yes, we have perfection on ourselves, but sometimes we have that also out there on them and we internalize that. And so like let's compare it to when they're doing well. Ooh, I'm not doing it there. Let's pull back over here.
Right. I love that. That's amazing. My gosh,
And also and also don't follow perfect people on social. Just stop.
yes, that's a simple thing to do too. Unfollow, unfollow. Yeah. Yeah, because nobody's perfect. What is that quote by Glennon Doyle? She's like, be messy and afraid and complicated and show up anyway. That has
Mm,
been like my motto for the past couple of years. I'm just like,
amazing.
nobody has it together. None of us do. Like,
Exactly. And if
mm,
and if that's the facade you're seeing, let's check in.
mhm.
Do I really want to be looking at that facade?
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
Oh, so many golden nuggets you have dropped today, Madi. It must be, I can't even imagine what it looks like to work with you. That actually brings me to my final question. Madi, can you tell us, everybody, we're going to drop your link so that everyone
Yeah.
has, but could you just tell us where people can find you and what
Mhm.
does it look like to work with
Yeah. Okay.
you?
So Instagram's a great place to get to know me, see if we
Mm-hmm.
vibe. And then the crew is my coaching community,
Okay.
and it is a group coaching cohort where I deliver all of my coaching. So there's so much good stuff in there. You get hours and hours of coaching. You get support, you get accountability, and you also get community because here's the deal, just like you're building, Christina,
Mm-hmm.
is here inside your communities. What we're going through, there's 100% chance that someone else has gone through that. And
Yep.
so let's not reinvent the wheel. Not that we have
Mm-hmm.
to take their tips or their advice, but we can get that and we can
Mm-hmm.
ask for support. So the coaching community becomes this big, huge cohort of people that we can bounce ideas off of. Hey, I'm looking to start a
Yes.
podcast. Who's done that? And it's a place where women unapologetically go after goals and dreams. That's it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So profound and so simple at the same time.
It is, yeah,
Um,
it's exactly it.
that's amazing. This has been such a great conversation, Madi. I can't wait till our next talk. I'm already like thinking of other topics and, things we could talk
Absolutely.
about. Thank you so much for being here. And again, everyone, I will drop Maudie's links. Please reach out to her, take that survey, and until then, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.